Hi Aries, I want to welcome you to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol. Aries, this is going to be a general reading for mid-October 2024. And in today's reading, we are going to be doing a check-in. And so we're going to be starting off with what pattern is coming up right now, is showing up for you in your life so that you can heal it. And in order to look at what's kind of impacting that or driving that pattern to show up again in your life, it's probably something you've seen before for sure. We're going to be doing some shadow work, and so that means we're going to be doing a little bit of a deep dive into, your childhood or your adolescence and what sort of things you've, repressed and put away that are now coming up for you again, that are pushing this for you to look at and for you to heal. And so if you're new to shadow or shadow work, those two terms, I've left you a really good video in my description box below called My Powerful 4-Step Guide to Healing, to Shadow Work. And it's taken from my other channel called Carol Cares, which is a channel that has all kinds of healing videos on it for you. And it is something I put together, and it's based on my own intensive healing journey that I've been doing for the last 7.5 years of shadow work. And so I think you'll find that very useful. It's about facing your own shadow. And so in the third part, what we're going to do is we're going to ask the tarot for some guidance on how you can start to heal this. And it's not something like how you can heal it or, because this is a process. It's a healing journey. We're all on it. Even though most of us don't want to admit that we're on it, we're all on a healing journey. We're trying to get back to, our truth and who we are before, all this stuff kind of happened to us. Life happened to us, and we're going to get back to our truth. And so I'm here to help you with that, and the tarot will give you some guidance. It'll lead you in the direction of what you need to start to work on. And then I'll also leave you with some guidance, and I'll leave you with some playlists from my other channel called Carol Cares as well. And that'll be more specific to, those videos will be more specific to what you're dealing with in your reading. All right, so we're going to get started with the Curious Travels Tarot deck. And then I'll use Tarot Grand Lux to clarify that. And I also want to say that if you're interested in a personal reading, and especially if this really resonates with you, my readings resonate with you, I think a personal reading would probably be very healing for you, give you some more information about yourself, because it's going to be specific to you. So I've left a link for you in the I left it in the comments section and also in the description box, and that'll take you to my website carolcares.com, where I have my Yellow Cardinal Tarot page on that website. It'll lead you to that website, that page, and you can have a look at about 6 or 7 readings on there, where you can pick one that you think might be. You can start off with a shorter one and then see how you like it, and maybe get something longer next time. And all of the readings on there have been done on my channel, and so I'm going to really try to focus on repeating some of those readings on here so that you can see how I do them and how they're done. All right, so let's begin, Aries, by looking at what pattern in your life is showing up for healing. If I could have one card from the tarot right now for the one card that's coming up for your healing for Aries, last part of October. Okay, I'm just warming up here. It's wanting to talk, I can tell. 4 of Pentacles in reverse. What's coming up from your shadow here that's impacting that one card? Yeah. Oh, I love this one. I was hoping it would come out. The 3 of Pentacles. We'll talk about that one. And yeah. Coming out in your shadow. All right, so what advice from the tarot here? I talk to myself sometimes during this. You have the 9 of Pentacles and the Hierophant card as a clarifier for that one. I'll put those two together. Yeah, and then we will go to Tarot Grand Lux. asked for 2 to 3 clarifiers for each one. So let's clarify. Can you give me some more information about this Four of Pentacles, please, right here? Oh, there's one. 2 more. One more. One more. Straighten that up before it flies across the table. Don't make me. There it is. Okay, so clarify your Four of Pentacles in reverse. You have the King of Coins, the Pentacles here. The Seven of Coins, Seven of Pentacles, and Six of Wands. Let's clarify these Three of Pentacles. A couple more cards. Oh, ouch. I'm going to have to pick up all of these and do them again. But I do have, oh, I still have this one in here. There's too many here. So, I'll do that again. So let's go for one more. One more that you deem to be the most important one. Yeah. Oh, nice. It's like, I wanted you to take those other ones. So I'm going to put them here. The tarot sometimes has a sense of humor. And this is one of the instances when it does. So I'll just go with it. Three of Pentacles is clarified by the Knight of Swords. It's a story and a half. The Two of Cups. We have the Moon. And then we have the Queen of Wands. And then we have the Two of Swords in reverse. And the High Priestess in reverse. Now that I've had half the deck on the table, we have the Nine of Pentacles and the Hierophant. Can I have 2 or 3 cards, please? Preferably not 15. Advice from the Tarot clarification, 2 to 3 cards. No, it won't give me 15 cards. It won't give me any. There's one, couple more. One more. One more time. Five of Wands. Oops, the Five of Wands. Oh, well, I'll just put them down here and then we'll. Okay, so to clarify this, Nine of Pentacles and Hierophant here, we got the Seven of the Chariot card in reverse, the Five of Wands upright, the King of Swords in reverse, right underneath the Queen here of Wands, and the Three of Cups. Okay. So, let's get a bigger reading here, Aries. let's start off with what pattern is showing up right now in your life. Well, you start off with the Four of Pentacles, and in an upright position, the Four of Pentacles speaks about. Pentacles is all about our material world. So the Four of Pentacles really talks about holding on to things, really putting a big emphasis on our outer world, not wanting to let things go. And oftentimes that comes from a lot of fear that we have sitting in our system, right? Because this is in reverse right now. And so what I'm seeing here is that there is a real resistance on your part to bringing awareness to how much you are holding on to your outer world. And right behind it explains here, you have the King, which explains a bit why you're holding on so much onto things. Your material world, like they mean a lot to you, right? And the King of Coins comes here, and the King is our masculine side to us. Now we have a masculine side and a feminine side, and the masculine side is our ego self. And the Pentacle is like I said, the material world. It can mean money, it can mean our health, it can mean our workspace. And so the King in particular, the masculine side of us, our ego self, will really put a big emphasis on, getting you to believe that, you need to work all these hours and need to put so much effort and time and energy into getting somewhere. And so I think this is where you're sitting with right now, is like you have this ego self that wants to keep you in your head and make you believe that in order to get ahead, you have to work all these hours, and you got to work hard and long, and you're just holding on to not seeing that there is, another side to this at all, because it's in reverse. And this is what you were made to believe. This is what you believe. And I'm sure this is going to come up here in your shadow. But, the next card, the Seven of Coins that comes up, is this Pentacle. And so here you are. You've been working, you've been putting so much energy and so much commitment and so much of your time into this. And, you've reaped, maybe you do have all these maybe, you do reap these material, rewards for yourself. And, no, but then you're starting to go, is this it? Like, is this everything? So you're I think that the universe too is trying to say, well, it's time to look at that and say, is this really worth it? Is this really worth it? Is this what you want? Is this what you want out of life? Is this bringing you the most joy? Is this attachment that you feel to your job? Is it bringing you this much joy, or what you commit most of your energy to? Is it really worth it? And I think that's where you're sitting. Maybe you're starting to feel that. And then the Six of Wands comes up at the end here. And the Six of Wands, the sixes in my deck have this duality to them. And the Six of Wands says, it's about, this individual here who looks like he's on the surface of this card. It looks like he has gained a lot. There's like this victory symbol behind him, this wreath going on behind him, like he has won the battle here. And so on the outside, on the surface, people would look at you maybe and say, wow, look at that individual. Wow, they've really they've really got it made. And maybe you think you have it made. I don't know. Like I don't, but I see here that there's a lot of emphasis on there, and probably too much because it's in reverse here. And so this card comes in and says, with all our victories in life, there's also losses that we need to deal with. And so I'm wondering here if all of this emphasis that you're putting on this and your masculine self, your ego self, would keep you driven in this whole outer world of yours that you have going on here. Because I'm wondering if it's all a distraction for you to not face what you've lost in life, right? So we're going to go into your shadow and we're going to see what it says. And because this Six of Wands always has this duality to it of, life is going to present us with all these victories, but there's also losses here that we need to look at in our life. And so, because there's always something on the other side of those losses, something needs to come in here. And it can't come in if there's such a heavy emphasis on your outer world. And so in the shadow aspect of you, and this is going to be from your child, your adolescence, this big long story here that is really impacting maybe your drive here, your ego self, that is driving you and trying to cover up. I'm wondering if it's going to explain what this loss is, what these losses are maybe, that you are maybe running from. And you start off with the Three of Pentacles. And I got excited about the card, but it means something different when it's not in the shadow. So in the shadow, it's a card that means to me as it's a co-creative card. It's a card of feeling very supported, very validated by someone else, especially when it comes in your shadow. And in your shadow, like the reason I always like to look at this card, I like to look at it normally when it's not in your shadow as a therapy card, getting help. And, getting help from somebody, and oftentimes people get some body work done, and you can get body work done with dolphins. Actually, you can go swimming with the dolphins. It's beautiful. I'd love to do that. And they actually can help you heal. And because they're amazingly intelligent, what are they, mammals, animals? I'm not sure what to call them here. I probably need to look that up. But yeah, so what does this card mean for you in your shadow? Well, it means that for you when you were younger, you didn't have the support. Very much a card that comes out, the first card that says, because it's in reverse, so you didn't have the support that you needed when you were younger. And I guess there's a big story here for you, but you didn't have the support. And that would have been, the support for you to maybe, for what? Well, we're going to look at this Knight of Swords right here. This Knight of Swords here is, Knights in my deck are freedom fighters. I call them freedom fighters. And they're the part of us. Everybody has this part. And they're the part of us that is fighting for freedom and to be themselves. And you wanted nothing more than, here's this sort of truth, to be authentic. And so you've been fighting all your life. You've been fighting all your life for someone to get to know you, for someone to understand you, for your truth to come out. And that's where this card comes in, this Three of Pentacles here, where you weren't understood, you weren't supported when you were younger. And so there's this part of you that has been fighting all your life for this to come out. And when that happens, when you have this in your shadow, when you have this part of you that's sitting there in your shadow that's fighting to get out, fighting to get noticed, fighting for your truth, and nobody supports you and nobody hears you and nobody sees you, you can become very, very angry, and you can also become feeling very hopeless, and so you're sitting with that in your shadow, and the Two of Cups is the next card that comes out here. And the Two of Cups is a beautiful joining of two hands, two individuals here, a very intimate, very vulnerable relationship. And it's the beginning. It's the beginning of a healing relationship here. Just the beginning. So you have in your shadow this beginning of a healing relationship. And what does that mean? Well, it's a healing relationship between the masculine side and the feminine side. You have these two parts of you in you. You have these two parts of you in you. I feel like what you're sitting on right now is very much masculine driven. You have the king here. And this big attachment to material outer world, which tells me that's very much a masculine side of you that's driving you right now. That's leading the show if you want. But in your shadow, there's this part of you, this part of you that wants to release this, for you to get to know that other side of you, which is the feminine part of you. That needs to come out, that's sitting there, because it's going to be, your truth, because you only know half of who you are, and that's your masculine side, and that's what's driving you right now. You don't know this other side here that's been lost. Here are your losses. Here's this other side of you that's been lost. Here's the side, the masculine, and here's the feminine side. You have the beginning of it in your shadow. And the next card talks about, and you have a lot of feminine cards coming up here, by the way. I said that without even looking at this about how your feminine side has been lost. Your next card is the moon. And it is a beautiful card that talks about what is hidden. It's also a card that talks about our intuition. And so I'm seeing here that your intuition, which is a beautiful feminine quality, your own inner guidance, your own inner knowing, is buried here, right in your shadow. Buried here in your shadow. The next card that comes up is another feminine card. It's the Queen. You have the King here, who is our ego self. And here's the other side of us. And remember how I told you that here's the beginning of the masculine and the feminine. So this card is the beginning of getting to know your feminine side that is buried right here. Buried because you weren't allowed, you didn't have the support right here. You didn't have the support to get in touch with that feminine side of yours. And so I think this reading is about, it's time to get in touch with your feminine side. And here is the Queen, and she's the feminine side. So she's the Queen of Wands. She would be the one that would know what creative direction you were meant to go in, how we were supposed to live our life. And I think here, I'm seeing here because of the job situation you're in, that could, maybe bring you a lot of money. But I'm seeing here that it's probably not something that really you're meant to do. It's not something that is really you, right? Because you have in your shadow buried that part of you that has your aunt, that really wants the freedom here to be you and get back to, where you were meant to go, what direction. And the Queen here has the answer. She is the feminine side. She knows what direction you're meant to go to, that feminine side of yours. But the only way to get to the Queen in the feminine side is to get back in the body, because the Queen lives in her body. She loves the body. And she's repressed. All of this feminine part of you, they're repressed right here. So there, like I said, there's probably some real anger and hopelessness. And I'm wondering if you are an individual that if you have your ungrounded anger because of these parts that are angry for not being able to take their life in the direction they wanted to, you can often spew out your anger on other people that you don't want to, the people that you hurt, because you have ungrounded anger. It needs to be felt, or you can feel very hopeless sometimes. And we'll see what the advice from the tarot was saying here. But this Two of Swords that's in reverse here, in an upright position, well, it's blocked right now, but in an upright position, this individual talks about, having the ability, because you have the High Priestess here, having the ability to make decisions, having the ability to make decisions between these two choices, being able to make decisions for yourself. And you weren't allowed to. So it tells me that you might have been in a very controlled environment because you had no access to this High Priestess here, which is intuition, your intuitive skills. And so you have the Moon card, is some things hidden here. Intuitive card, things that want to come out for you. There's definitely so much feminine energy and qualities of the feminine that's sitting here. Your intuition, your creativity, your expressive creativity here. And you have emotions, like the beginning of this intimate relationship with yourself, that's all hidden here in your shadow, that's wanting desperately to come out here, because there's some real losses here. But I'm seeing that all being covered up by that masculine driven side of you that is just focused on, making the money and focused on your outside world. But there's a real call here that's coming up from your shadow to say, listen, there's a real loss here that you need to get to, and it's the loss of your feminine side. And so what does the universe have to say? What's your guidance here, Aries? And it's fabulous. Like, this is fascinating that this is coming out here. And well, you start off with the Nine of Pentacles and the Hierophant as a clarifier. And these two are very important cards. And the Nine of Pentacles is talks about somebody getting to a place in their life where they feel they know what matters. They know what matters in their life. And this is where the universe wants to bring you. Like, what matters in your life? What matters? Now, this is interesting because this is clarified by the Hierophant. The Hierophant card speaks of those things in our life that we... it talks about the way that we were wired when we were younger. You have this big owl here, this wisdom, this wise owl spewing out all their information to these two people. And we just take it in as sponges. And so if you have someone, for example, who you were raised by, really put a huge emphasis on, you gotta get a good job, you gotta make lots of money, and just really having your focus on your outside world, and that's all that matters, and forget all of this feminine bullshit stuff. Maybe you've clicked off by now, but it's like the universe is saying it's time for you to question, what really matters in your life? What have you been told? How are you wired to believe that your outer world, this masculine aspect of yourself, is what's most important? How are you wired to believe that? And you need to start to question that. Like, why do you need to make all this money? Or why do you need to keep the focus on your outer world? Realizing that you have this beautiful feminine side to you. The other part of you, like if you think about it, 50% of you, maybe even more, is sitting in your unconscious here. The other part of you that you have rejected, that was rejected when you were younger, and now it's time for you, you know what? You need to start looking at what you have lost. What have you lost? What do you need to look at? What's the other side here? What have you lost here? What does it mean when this whole feminine side's been rejected? What have you lost here? Emotions? Intuition? Creative expression? Stillness? Calmness? Peacefulness? Maybe you're a very stressed person. Very, very focused on this outer world here. And so we need to, what matters to you? Look at the wiring here. I think for a long time, you have been, trying to drive this chariot right here, and it's in reverse here, but you have been trying to drive this chariot with your willpower alone. You have been controlling your situation with your willpower, with your head, with the masculine part of you, with your conscious mind. And the universe is saying, that's going to take you only so far in life. It's going to take you so far in life, and then you hit the wall, and you hit the wall because it wants you to go inwards now. It wants you to take your focus. The universe is saying it's trying to take your focus off of your outside world and to go inwards and discover what it is. And I know there's some resistance to doing that. Discover what all of this feminine stuff is inside of your unconscious, that feminine side to you. And it doesn't matter, by the way, what gender you are. Everybody has these two parts. I did probably forget to say that. And then you have this Five of Wands here. And the Five of Wands is the battle of the wands here. It's the battle of the ego, It's that ego where has to be better than someone else. And it's where we're fighting. It's this fight. It's this big conflict where we're just trying to get on top of other people and being better than everybody. And we get caught up in this whole outside world of trying to be the best. Or maybe you don't feel like that, even though you're caught up in it. You might feel that you're not the best. And so you're trying to keep being the best, right? You're all caught up in this. And then you have this King of Swords here, where here's the masculine part again. It's the one that it talks about your truth and getting back to your truth. But this king is your ego self. And so the last thing it wants for you, is to discover this feminine side of you, to get back in your body. This King of Swords will say this is all bullshit. This lady right here, that's talking, is all bullshit. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And she's going to say, this ego self's going to say, don't you dare go back into your body. You stay up in your head. You continue this forging forward into your, your outer world and continue to do this job that you're meant to keep going at. And this king will keep on blocking you, and it'll tell you to keep going. Don't you dare go and don't question these things, like what really matters to you and how you've been wired. Are you kidding? This ego self wants you to keep putting your masks on and keep going. Keep going in the direction you're supposed to go into. But you end here with the Three of Cups. It's a beautiful card. It's a feminine card. It's another feminine quality. It's just a little bit of a reminder, in case you forgot about all this feminine part of you in this shadow. But remember, we fought about these cards. I put them back. I said I didn't want them, and then they gave me 5 more, and it was, here we go. All these feminine qualities here. It's incredible. And here's another one. This is your creative expression. This is the creative expression, to be you, to find out who you are. That's where the universe wants to bring you. Who are you? Like, who do you really want to be? What really matters to you? You were wired in life to be driven, to be stressed out, and to dedicate your whole life to working and, keeping you up in your head and with that, work kind of mentality. But what matters to you? Is that really what's important? Because the universe is really trying to get you back into, your own creative expression. And creative expression means leading the life that you want to lead. That's different than anything else that people told you. That is different than how you have been wired. You have been wired to believe a certain thing. Well, what do you believe? Creative expression. What do you believe? Yeah, I like that. What do you believe? Well, that was a hell of a reading. I'm just going to say, Aries. I know it was a little bit long-winded because of all of this, but it's just like, I hope you got kind of the feel for what this means. And I hope that, you know, my fear is that sometimes, well, you know, people do click off because they don't want to deal with this. But I feel that there's just this huge pull for you to get back and to discover these feminine part of you that was just totally, you were not wired in this way to feel and to, you know, even be able to find out what your intuition, what intuitive skills you have, or sort of what creative expressions you have, and how to express yourself and be you and do what you want to do and take your life in that direction. But that's so much a part of the other side, the beautiful side of you. And so I think you need to really, I'm going to give you a video on grounding, some videos on grounding, and that's going to help you ground your mind and then also ground into your body, and so you can get in touch with that feminine side of you. You really need to learn how to ground into your body, because you have a really strong masculine ego self, your ego self side, that does not want you to get back into your body, right? They fear. Ego self fears emotions. But you do have some loss here for sure. There's some losses here that you need to get to. But like I said, I think a big part of your drive, your ego drive, is to defend those losses so you don't have to look at them. And then I'll give you with your October 2025 reading if you haven't seen it. So I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through, Aries. This is the most difficult journey of your life, but it's the most important one. Take care, and I'll see you in November. Bye.